What's going on, everybody? My latest guest on the Blue to Green podcast was Carmen of Hippie Chicks. She brought me all kinds of swag. She brought me shirts. She brought me chocolates. She brought me enzyme infused bong water that's supposed to be better and keep the bong water clean and all that. She brought me CBD cream. I love Hippie Chicks and I love Carmen. Thank you so much for coming on, and I sincerely appreciate all the swag. Carmen is the owner and CEO of and co-founder of Hippie Chicks, which produces edibles here in the state of Arizona. They have CBD infused and they have THC infused, and their product is amazing. In this episode, we cover her journey into getting into the chocolatier business and learning how to make it the way that how she wanted it, and how she traveled Europe learning about all of it. And it's a pretty cool story. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hope everybody learned something new and has a good time. And thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Live. All right. Carmen.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for making the drive down here. And secondly, you and I had talked about having this conversation a while ago. We set the date. It didn't slip my mind. I knew it was coming up, but my brain just didn't say, oh yeah, it's the 26th. So you messaged me last night. I thank you so much for messaging
Stoner
me and coming down. It totally was.
Definitely. No, I'm glad we can make this work. And yeah, it's always great to chat with you. So
awesome. So I just want to get a little background. What are you doing now? How did you get into it? That sort of stuff.
Okay, we'll start from the beginning, I got into it. So actually, first and foremost, I'm a patient.
Okay.
I was working on CBD first before I even got into marijuana. I was a medical esthetician, so me and my business partner, Mike, we were working on a formula to help with scarring from breast cancer survivors. So anytime you've seen radiation from breast cancer, it's really bad scarring. So I come from a medical background. I used to fire lasers and do chemical peels and all sorts of fun stuff. My business partner, he was making a cream with CBD. So as we're working with these patients, they're telling us their stories, telling us about using cannabis and telling us about using CBD. So in that process, a lot of people were saying, we're not getting the effects. I bought this stuff and I don't feel anything, or, I was on the floor, or, different, like we hear everything. So at the same time, I was also on my own medical cannabis journey. I got my medical card. I have a lot of issues with digestion. Okay. I'm always nauseated. So I knew that edibles would help me to calm that nausea throughout the day. And this was about 7-8 years ago. So back in the day when it was just starting out. So it was all new to us. So I went into the dispensary, was super excited, let me have some edibles, please. The first time I didn't feel anything, and I bought one product 3 different times. One time I didn't feel anything. The next day I woke up 3 days later, and the next time I was like, okay, I didn't like that. And, and then I was taking like little nibbles to, kind of gauge where I'm at. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And also it just tasted like you're biting on plant matter. So,
tasted like weed.
Yeah, tasted like weed. Yeah, weedy, too weedy. So that's where we set forth and kind of knew that there was a need in the industry. Back in the day, it was not lab tested. Right. So we wanted to make sure it was lab tested so that you knew what products you were getting, how many milligrams and things like that. And also we just wanted to make it low dose for people like me, where I need it in the morning, but I still want to be able to function and get stuff done. I don't need to be completely on the couch all day, every day. Some days is good, but not every day.
Did you have any exposure to weed before that? Did you smoke when you were a kid? Or have you been smoking for a while?
Long time lover. First time. No.
Gotcha.
Honestly, funny enough, back in high school and college, all my friends used to make fun of me because I never really did. I was one of those kids like, no, it's bad for you. We're going to go to jail, and, I'm going to pray for you too. It wasn't until I had kids and, the whole stress of life and everything. We were in New York, and one of the first things, like being a new mom and being in a new situation, one of the first things that they give you is like, here, take an antidepressant.
Right.
And it kind of made me feel like a zombie, where I was like, this is not fun. And I have kids. I want to play with them. I want to interact. So honestly, I can thank my husband and my brother and sister-in-law, because they're like, here, try this. Like, it's better than pills, and it's, you'll just feel better, and you'll be in a good mood, and you'll be able to interact with your kids and have fun.
I love the fact that the very first thing is here's a pill. Take from the doctors, and it's pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Not let's try other things first. Let's try natural substances or anything like that. No, that's insane.
No, and I was a new mom, maybe 23. So you go to the doctor and they tell you, and you're like, okay, great, yeah, sure, whatever.
You trust them?
I do, and I did at the time, and that's the thing, that mentality where it's like, trust the doctors, trust what they say. Like, weed is bad, it's all bad. So honestly, that's when on that first hit, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I took myself off of antidepressants, which is bad because you're not supposed to just like quit. And I did, because why do I need them?
It sucks when a medicine that you stop can kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not good at all.
No. And like all the side effects that go with it. No, it's terrible. So yeah, longtime user. You've raised the kids. They didn't know, always kind of was in the backyard, like after they fall asleep, like, okay, let's go. Yeah. And now it's even funny because when they did start finding out my career, they actually thought that Paul was the smoker, not me. And I'm like, sorry, it's actually me. And they're like, I can't believe it. So, yeah.
Well, I had Sonia on the other day, I told you, and one of the things that we discussed is having age-appropriate conversations with kids. Your older kids, okay, no big deal, you can have those conversations. But, I have children as well, and I try to have the conversations that it's not all bad.
Right.
It is if you overuse it.
Right.
Yeah, when used responsibly, when used safely. And one of the things that I have an affinity for is, I've said it before, is that if you use it just for recreational, great, don't care.
Yeah.
But I have an affinity for the patients.
Right.
Because I am a patient myself. I care. It's not that I care more for the patients. It's just that was how I got my introduction into it. Yeah. Now, again, I smoked when I was a teenager, a little bit, experimented and all that.
Right.
But then my previous careers did not exactly allow me to go into it.
No, you're complete opposite.
Complete opposite.
Yeah.
I heard all of the bullshit propaganda. I heard how it was bad for you. I heard all of the negative side effects and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, I have to ask you. So when you were out there, did you see that? Well, I guess you just saw the really bad. But, like running into regular old pot smokers like us, or did you just be like, yeah, it's not.
So I'm glad you asked. Nobody ever asked me, and I'm totally fine to talk about it. I never cared so much about the individual user. Now, were there times that I had to enforce the law?
Yeah.
Are there times that I absolutely had to arrest people for personal possession? Yes, there was.
Yeah.
But I was going after the cartels. I was going after the criminal behavior behind that, and the big dope loads and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's not so much. I mean, there was a lot of times that the wind, I would set it on my hood to go test it, and the next thing you know, the wind would carry it away. And I'm like, oh, it's sorry, guy, have a nice day.
That's awesome.
So I never did it when I was in law enforcement or anything like that. I didn't touch it, nothing like that.
Right.
There was one time. Real quick story.
No, it's awesome. I love it. Story time.
I had a fairly large arrest, and the guy was definitely selling. And again, I'm not about the black market. Yeah. I know that you can get better stuff in the black market than you can in the legal market sometimes right now. Yeah. But I still want to support the regulated and legal market that's
definitely.
tested.
Yeah.
And this is a long time ago, and I busted this guy. I was towards the end of my shift, and we only had one property and evidence facility, so I'd have to drive like 100 miles round trip to go drop it off and bring it back. I called my boss. I said, listen, I'm 2 miles away from my house.
Yeah.
Can I just store all the stuff in my vehicle? I'll take pictures, I'll lock it up and all this good stuff. He goes, yeah, sure, that's fine. It was a very large quantity. So I brought it all home, and it's in the trunk of my car. It's in the trunk of my police car. It's all locked up. And my then mother-in-law had never seen it, smelled it, or anything like that.
That's
and
funny.
So I told her, I said, and I forget how we got on the conversation. I said, here, let me show you. And I brought the bag, and I opened it, and she stuck her whole face in it and just took this like massive whiff. And she just turned as green as could get.
Oh, no.
And then she was like, and then she almost started to throw up. And she was like, how can anybody use that stuff? And then went the other way. So
that's funny.
Yeah, no, but I never touched it. I never brought it home or anything like that, other than the one time where I was like very nervous about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I was like, I don't want to get blamed for it.
No. Well, and that's the thing. I have a lot of friends that, are in law enforcement, and it's funny because they're like, we don't really care.
Right.
But, when you're driving down the street and you're like, oh, no, do you really care or not? No, I'm kidding.
But the problem
it's different
is
now.
it's the administrators. It's the top level administrators that they want to show the numbers for arrests. They want to show, and the older cops still have the reefer madness mentality.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I mean, I've said it before, and I hope law enforcement, I hope some of you watch this, and
Listen.
because the whole purpose of this is to break the stigma, to show that you
Definitely.
can be successful and all that stuff. And I've been turned down by now 5 police agencies to have an officer come and sit down across from me and have the conversation.
That's
so,
crazy.
and I've spoken to several officers
Yeah.
who were told, I will not disclose the agency. I'm personal friends with them. And I said, hey, will you come on the show? And they said, yeah, no, it's fine. And then I don't bug people.
Yeah.
And then about a month later, I said, hey, when can we set up a time? And they said, I was informed that it would be bad for my career if I went on your show. I'm like,
That's crazy.
that's the total opposite of what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So it's just one of those annoying things that I'm trying to work through the process. And so if you still have if you have friends that are law enforcement and they would like to come on the show, please get a hold of them, because I'm using all of my old contacts and all that stuff, and they're still highly stigmatized.
Yeah,
they won't go anywhere near it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I put a post up on my Instagram the other day about the use of CBD and CBD in law enforcement, and I also put up on there the Post is the authority that oversees law enforcement in Arizona.
Yeah.
I said, Post allows you to use CBD, and I got several officers. They're like, hey man, what do you know about CBD, and can you help me out? I'm like, well, good, this is what I want.
Yeah,
This
that
is
engagement.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's not all negative.
And that's the thing. That's part of it. Just the education, even for us, like we use an isolate CBD. So, less than 0.003 milligrams of THC. So, and it's a hemp based and things like that. So we need that education because they don't know. They're just like CBD is CBD. And I'm like, no, actually it's not. Like there's so many different. So it's kind of cool.
Let's talk about who you are. And first of all, you brought me a bunch of swag.
Yay!
So you are...
I am the Hippie Chicks.
The Hippie Chicks.
I am Carmelo from Hippie Chicks. I am. This is my company. I am the co-founder and owner. We bring education, and also we want to bring women empowerment into the cannabis and CBD space.
Awesome.
So with that, being in the industry, you've noticed it. It's very male dominated. Not a lot of females out there. So yeah, we just want to make sure that everybody knows that girls like their weed too.
Absolutely.
And we just want it to be pretty and taste good and look good, and it also just gets that education out there too, because that's part of it. You do want to just make sure that everybody knows what your product is about and what's in it. So
100%. So you said you were in the world of cosmetics and healthcare and all that good stuff. So what transitioned you to making Hippie Chicks, and what was the catalyst for coming up with your own product, your own line? And I also want to talk about the industry as well.
Okay.
So
so I let's see. Yeah, we were working on a formula with breast cancer survivors, and we were working on the CBD cream. We were getting really great results on it, so that was awesome. And like I said, I was on my own medical journey, found that I couldn't find what I liked, and we just wanted something that would be consistent. So we had sent out some edibles that was back in the day to labs and had them tested. So back in the day, you could test a corner of each piece and it would be different milligrams.
Oh, okay.
So that's where, and with my business partner being a biochemist, it's definitely like he wants it spot on. Like, our variance is very, very low. We're right at 10 milligrams or 25. So it's kind of cool. Where others can be at like 10 or 15 or 20, or you have that leniency where I want it to be like 10 hits at 10 and that's it. If you need a higher dose, you can take more. But a lot of people know what they want and what they need for their bodies. So yeah, I wanted to make it consistent.
100%.
Yeah, so that's where we started our journey. We started our journey with CBD because we had already the CBD. We had a great isolate CBD that we were using. So we started with chocolate and CBD. We did want to get into the THC market, but it takes a while to crack the market, first of all.
Right.
So we actually have been in CBD for 7 years and only THC for 2 years. $5. And you can find our CBD on our website, HippieChicks with an S.com.
HippieChicks.
Yes. Chicks.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, you can find our CBD stuff on there, and you can order online, and we actually ship it directly to you because CBD is legal in all the states now. So, except for Alaska, it's
Really?
just Alaska and Hawaii, you can't really ship to them. I mean, you can, but
So getting into, we'll talk about getting into the THC part of it, but getting into the CBD world, what kind of hoops did you have to jump through? Was there issues regarding sourcing, trying to find the right company to get your CBD from? What was that like?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely sourcing. In the beginning, like I said, it was 7 years ago. So we had to find really good hemp distributors, hemp growers who would make it into the isolate for us. So they have to send it to a lab, and what isolate means is that we're only isolating that CBD molecule. So there is no CBG, CBN. We just wanted that CBD, but we have it at a higher percentage.
Okay.
So that way, that's how you feel it. Our CBD does work, where I feel others, people have said, I don't really feel anything. I'm like, well, maybe you're not taking the right dose, or maybe it's not the right CBD, or don't go to Circle K for your CBD.
Don't buy gas station CBD.
Yeah, know where it's coming from, know where it's sourced from.
Yes.
So, and ours is sourced local from Arizona.
Nice.
So it's great. We work with a hemp group out of the MITA Association, Marijuana Industry Trade. So they're certified, so it's really nice. So our product comes in clean. We have an isolate powder. We mix it in. Our chocolate is mixed for about 12 hours. Ooh. So that way, so it really does mix in there. So you really get that nice, consistent testing.
I've told you before, I'm not a sweet eater. And then when I very first met you and heard you around, of course I'm going to try everything.
Right.
I'm not like, no, I won't try it. But I genuinely like your chocolate.
Thank you.
Like, just the chocolate in and of itself is delicious. So even if it didn't have the CBD, I was like, this is good stuff.
Thanks.
I would eat this as a treat every once in a while.
Thank you. Yeah. And with that, honestly, it's a labor of love. We invested, our savings, Mike and I invested everything, but I toured around for about 6 months in Europe. So I went to different chocolatiers and
really,
So it's a very boutique chocolate. It is definitely artisan crafted, so it is made in small batches.
That's very cool.
So we bring it in, and then we make our own magic happen, and it's still made in small batches. So
see, this is why I wanted to come and sit down with you, because it's a quality product that has love behind it, and it has actual chemistry behind it, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious, can you say, or do you want to say who you source your hemp from, or who you source your CBD from?
I cannot.
Okay, totally fine.
Trade secret.
Absolutely,
because
totally
we found
understand.
a really good one. And actually, it's funny because we have people that want to white label, or they want us to white label for them. So
what does that mean?
That we're making their products for them.
Oh, they want, okay, I gotcha.
We're bringing in the CBD, and they're like, oh, it's so good. Like, can you make our products? And it's like, no. No.
You know the quality, you know the source of what you're working with. Yeah, no, I totally respect that. So.
Yeah, so it's good. So we with our CBD, we do have our chocolates. All of our dark chocolate is gluten-free and vegan, so we keep it very clean so that people with any kind of digestive issues can still consume it. Milk chocolate is, of course, milk chocolate goodness. And then we also have tincture. So in your bag, you should have some drops in there.
You brought me
that's our cream.
Kinds.
And that's the original cream that we even started the company with. So
you brought me all kinds of swag and goodies, and I feel terrible because thank you so much.
Our Even Out, that is 50 milligrams of isolate CBD. And
each bar is 50?
Each bar is 50. That's the only one that's a higher dosage.
Okay.
And the Even Out, you also get at the bottom of our medicated line. So you always get a CBD with your purchase of THC.
That's right. I have seen that. You hide one in there, don't you?
Yes. And that's the tincture. So we have different flavors available. Each dropper full is 25 milligrams. And I think that, and we have a pet tincture line. I didn't know you had dogs. I would have brought them something too. But we have a pet tincture line, and there are different milligrams available.
This is awesome. I got a goodie bag. I got a Labmo bag. This is cool. Okay, so who is each character I know is based off of somebody that you know, correct?
Yes, definitely.
So who is Olivia?
Olivia, actually, that is Dr. Mike's stepdaughter.
Okay.
So, yep.
And then who's the even Harmony?
Harmony is one of our friends.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's very, very cool.
Yep. And I'm Carmelo.
Which one are you on?
I'm actually on CBD and THC.
Okay.
I'm somewhere in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This is cool. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I loved, and you brought me
Oh, and bong water. That's our latest addition.
I'm going to try this out tonight, definitely.
Yeah, so you put that into your rig. You put it in your pipe and smoke it. So you put it into your pipe, and it actually is distilled water and some enzymes that the biochemist created. It's just so awesome working with a biochemist because he's just...
Isn't it nice having people who are really intelligent and can do stuff like that?
You're so smart.
Right?
Like, this is amazing. So you put it in your rig, and it'll keep your glass clean for up to 30, 35 smokes.
That's awesome.
As long as you don't, pull the ash through. Gotcha. I have done up to 50, which sounds gross, but I'm testing. I'm doing research here. So, and we're going to do flavored ones as well. And the flavored ones have been really good.
That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. A bud tender was telling us that they used to use like champagne or like Kool-Aid.
Okay.
To drink or to smoke out of. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, but that's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. But that can't be good for you. So we made it a little better. Yeah.
Where are your products located?
So all of our CBD you can purchase online. Then we do have 2 locations here in Mesa, McCree Wellness and also AZ Hemp Health. They carry our CBD line. And then in North Scottsdale, it's called the Skin Clinic in North Scottsdale, and they carry our CBD as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do believe that Arizona Hemp Health is at Higley and Southern.
Yes.
We did a clinic there long time ago.
Oh, that's right.
Pre-COVID and all that stuff. So with Women Grow.
Yes,
so
that's right.
With Miss Parisa.
Yep. So. And also with Chris Martin from, Zonka. Weren't we all together?
Not on that one.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't on that one. I was at the one before. Remember when Sonia and I used to have taught a couple classes and all that stuff. That was a long time ago. It was 3 years ago. So.
Wow, that is a long time. Wow. Crazy.
And I think I met you originally at the Women Grows in Tucson.
Yes. Yep.
So that was almost 4 years ago.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah. Long time. Yeah. So now here we are 7 years later and 2 years into THC. So it's been awesome.
So what led you down the road to get into the THC?
We knew that we always wanted to be in THC, but it's really hard to get into the industry, and especially being a small business like ours. We don't have that corporate backing like all the other big boys that we're up against do. So honestly, my advice to anybody trying to get into the industry is you got to go to those meetings, go to META, go to Normal, Can of Friends, all of those. You really have to make those connections. Women Grow was, of course, like the really pivoting point for me. Brought me to the front of the stage, and I learned a lot from Parisa and Marvina. I mean, they're just, oh my gosh, they're so dynamic.
They're coming. I've got to get in contact with them.
Yeah.
I've been saying that we got to come on. So yes, I love both of them.
Yeah, they're just amazing mentors, and honestly, that's where it kind of made it kind of happen for us, where we had to be in front of these dispensaries for them to take us seriously and be like, okay, yeah, we'll give you a chance. And also we just had to have the backing of the testing and all that stuff saying, hey, we know what we're doing. Let us in and let us try this. It was really cool. And then we finally got our break March 2 years ago, COVID. It was cool. We got our license. We were like, yay, so exciting. And then 2 weeks later, COVID hit.
Yeah. That sucks.
At first it was. We thought it would be a downfall, but it actually was a blessing in disguise. It gave us time to get all of our SOPs in order, our procedures, testing, all of the equipment, just everything. And then rec hit that December. So it was, kind of a blessing in disguise.
So you obviously had to get a license.
Yes.
So how did you break into that? Are you using somebody else's license?
Yes, yeah.
And for those who don't know or understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're in the industry, you're in the business, and I obviously have a rudimentary understanding of it, but the way it works in Arizona is a licensee gets a license that has 4 parts to it. Dispensary sales, cultivation, concentration making and all that type of stuff, and edibles.
Right.
So you have to basically get, and again, stop me if I'm wrong here, you have to get in good with somebody who's not using that edible portion of their license.
Yep.
Does that sound about right?
You have to get in good with somebody that has that licensing, and then you pay them for their licensing fee.
Okay.
That's how it works here in the state of Arizona. You'll always pay a licensing fee, and then you work at their facility. So we're under HanaMed. Great. I love HanaMed so much. They make Dutchie, but we work with, and it's really cool because we work actually in the grow facility.
Oh, nice.
So every day I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I love my job. But yeah, so then we work in their facility and things like that. We pay for a licensing fee, and then we also pay, just other fees that go along with it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, is that one of the prerequisites that you have to do it at their location?
Yes, you have to. Yeah, the state deems it has to be on site at a location. So you can get a building, but then you have to slap the license onto it. So like a manufacturing. So you can be off-site somewhere, but it always has to be associated with the license.
With the primary license
Primary
holder.
license, yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So now, regarding the food aspect of it, is any part of the making the chocolate and all that, is that covered by the USDA or any?
The state department comes in, the health department comes in, and they check our facility.
Okay.
Actually, they're pretty diligent about it. They probably come in more often than not.
Gotcha.
Which is good. And yeah, they're really on top of us. So they make sure our facility's clean, everything, just like any other restaurant. So we also get graded as well. And actually, we don't really get graded. It's either you pass or you're shut down. So you really have to be a stickler about everything, and that's good. I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want. Like, we want it to be clean. That was the whole thing that started this. So
right.
yeah.
You want good, clean meds that are homogenized, and you know what you're getting every single time.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a good thing. But yeah, so we're licensed here, and then we're also looking at getting a license in New Mexico. And there it's different because there you can purchase your own manufacturing or distribution or grow license. So every state is different. So it's been interesting.
One of the things that I can say that has been, not specifically in the talks with anybody, but as an industry whole, talking about micro licensing, so that if you are an edible maker and you want to just be an edible maker, just to get that type of license.
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, Arizona's very restrictive on their licenses. They've got the caps and all that good stuff. So that's one of the, props to Arizona Normal for trying to figure out something along those lines for the next upcoming session to see if we can get small business entrepreneurs into the business so they're not being crushed by the big
boys.
By the big boys. And again, it's nothing against the big companies.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan, just like craft beer. I would rather go get a craft beer than a Bud Light.
Yeah.
I'd rather go get something that's got love and and everything else put into it.
Oh, definitely. And knows the market and knows the people here, like, we came up from Arizona and this is what I love. And so it's not just a company just coming over to take over. So
do you have to use Hannah Med's THC? Do you have to use their
No.
No. Okay.
No, you can purchase whatever you want as far as flour or distillate or things like that. So we do use distillate in our product.
Okay.
Gotcha. And that's it.
Gotcha. Understood.
But no, we start using Hanamed because they produce Dutchie. So I don't know if you've ever tried Dutchie.
Oh yeah,
I love Dutchie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're strain specific, so their products are so good.
No,
so I'm super excited to start.
I've never been let down by one of their. I'd get their pre-rolls. They got the Dutchie pre-rolls.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never once been let down by their quality.
Yeah, so we're super excited to start using their distillate. So I'll definitely let you know when we're.
Oh yeah. And their grow is here.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. In the Phoenix area, or is it?
It's in Phoenix area. Yeah.
Because I'm learning and finding out that there's a lot of grows in other places outside of the valley here.
Oh yeah, they're all over. You'll never see them. So that's part of it. You don't want to know where they are. So, but so they're a really great group, and I love them. So we're happy at our new home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what kind of challenges? And I mean, I love the female empowerment thing. I want people in this business and in this industry that want to be there, not just want to make money.
Yeah.
I'm okay with capitalism. I'm 100% for capitalism. But what has been your biggest hurdle in that sense regarding the industry?
First of all, just getting in. It does take a lot of capital to just get in, meet the requirements from the state. There's a lot that goes into it, like childproof packaging,
okay.
The things that we put on our packaging. So it starts with that. Also, the challenges of getting in, just trying to find a license. When you're new to the industry, first of all, you're not going to know who the owners of these licenses are. They're not going to be like, hey, I own a dispensary. That's not how it works. You have to kind of find out who they are, and even if they have availability. And also just getting, I'm sure just getting into these groups and talking to people, it can be a little bit challenging. Us in the industry now that we're on the other side, we're like, who are you? Where are you from? Are you a cop? Oh wait, you are? No, but no, and yeah, that's part of it where you really have to trust the people that you're around, because there's just so many companies trying to get in, or black markets trying to kind of make their mark as well. And we've had people like reach out to us and be like, hey, can you make this on the down low? And it's like, no, we're really. Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. So you just have to just kind of keep on the straight and narrow, and you go to all these meetings, talk to people, shake hands. And there's going to be a lot of hurdles. There's going to be a lot of new hurdles for people that just got their licenses. People coming up to them and saying, hey, let me help you out. Let's, make sure you know the people that you're surrounding yourself with.
Vet these people. Vet these people and make sure they're not shysters, and make sure they're not, trying to grifters and trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah. Because there's so much opportunity in this industry. There's enough for everybody, but, some people can be greedy.
Right?
Yeah.
The one thing I can say, though, that it just appears to me, though, that, let's not kid ourselves here. There's really great products in this industry, and there's really shitty products in this industry. And I just don't understand how these products that are just not top quality, not even top quality, just quality, just decent stuff, I don't understand how they're surviving. But then at the same time, it appears as though they just change their name.
Yeah.
And then they just change their name. And then when people catch on, they just keep changing their name. That's the perception that I have. It's like, this is the same stuff.
Right. Just different
as
name.
Before.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how those companies are able to thrive and survive. And I get there's a price point. There's 100% a price point that people can afford.
Yes.
And I'm all about, how about they just make a little bit better stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how we were too, where at first when we came into the market, everybody's like, oh, you're so expensive. But I'm like, well, you have to look at it differently. We're not a bar. We're now single serving. So now you kind of have to explain to people why it might be a little bit higher of a price point. We use gourmet chocolate instead of like Hershey's chocolate that is not real chocolate. No, I'm kidding. There's so much that I learned. Like, now I'm like, yeah, I am a chocolatier, because I did have to learn. Like I had to, go into a new career. So I really did have to learn about this. And there's so many ways that you can cut corners. It's so easy, to cut corners with less quality product, less quality distillate, less percentage to it too. It doesn't have to be 90%. It could be 70%, and you could just, pour it in and you're still good to go. So it meets that requirement of THC, and people won't care. Yeah, they won't care. So, and you're just getting it out to market. So we're, I do care. It's mine. It's literally my face on the box, on one of the boxes. So it's your creation. It is. And I do go out to people and, like to the bud tenders and tell them that, I'm not somebody sitting behind a corporate desk. Like I'm out here. I've driven my product. I answered phones. I've cleaned the bathroom. Like I've done everything. So we just want to make sure that it's a quality product and people know why it's quality. That's awesome. Yeah. So so you said you spent 6 months touring Europe. Yes. Tell me about that. That's super cool. I tagged along with my husband on a lot of his business trips. So we were in Belgium, Switzerland, of course, Amsterdam. Darn. In Italy. This sounds terrible. This sounds like a terrible 6 months. Such a terrible, yeah. So Budapest. So it's interesting what places, everybody kind of has their own chocolate line and what makes them different. Okay. So it's really cool. Actually, I'm finding out even New Mexico has a really cool chocolate company. Really? And they use, of course, like the red chili spices, so it gives it that. I know. That would be delicious. Yeah. So it's really cool to meet all these like, artisan chocolatiers that they have like a different kind of chocolate that I'm like, yeah, that'd be amazing to work with. So that's a cool title though, to chocolatier. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Right. When you were doing this tour, what was your influence? Chocolate? Yeah, right. Which country did you like? Your expert, because you're absolutely an expert. In your expert opinion, what was the best one for you, and what kind of guided you? What do you model yours after, I should say, or maybe not necessarily model, but what's your inspiration regarding that side of the chocolate side? Of the chocolates, like Belgian, where it's a little bit richer. Okay. Italy had some amazing one as well. So yeah, I like more Belgian, richer type. Swiss chocolate is a little bit more creamier. Yeah, it's interesting. Like when you're like, okay, let me taste this. Yeah, you do become a connoisseur.
Oh,
So
it's just like cannabis.
Yeah.
It's just like wine. It's just like, alcohol. It's just, you start, I'm sure you probably start.
Yes.
I can take a bite of chocolate and be like, that's chocolate.
Right.
Whereas you're going to take a bite of it and be like, no, it has hints of this or a little bit of that. Or,
Yeah, definitely. So, and it's really cool to, just be able to pick everything out. And we also blend flavors too. So there are certain chocolates that we get that have other flavors, and we blend them to make a new flavor.
Oh, cool.
So, and I can't tell you that either.
Trade secret.
Trade secrets. There's so many trade secrets, but that's part of it. Yeah.
That's what makes your product your product.
Yeah. So it's awesome. And it's just so much fun. I mean, we're in the industry. Yeah. The other day we were all sitting around and everybody was complaining about work. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And they're like, shut up. You cannot complain. You get free products. You work on weed all day. And I'm like, okay, I do. I love my job.
I love my job. Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm so glad that you love all the products. And have you tried the THC line?
I have. You have given me one. Yes. I don't hit the dispensary all that often. And I'm definitely a flower guy.
Yeah.
So I'm a flower, but I do enjoy edibles for my back pain. Good. So I do enjoy edibles for the longevity.
Good,
for chilling at night.
Yeah.
But I will totally admit that I'm still a lightweight, and so I can definitely go way overboard on edibles very, very quickly.
So what is your tolerance? Like, what's your minimum dosage?
About 5. So the best one that I've had was I forget what company it was, but it was an RSO gummy that was about 5 milligrams.
Nice.
And that hit my pain perfectly without altering my mind too much.
Yeah.
I had an edible one time that was 1-to-1, 25 milligrams CBD, 25 milligrams THC.
Yeah.
And, that should level itself out. But for someone who's a lightweight like myself, I was on the edge.
Oh, no.
My wife, she drove to dinner, and we were out at dinner, and I remember thinking to myself, this was a bit too much. Oh, no. Like, I was like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So 10 milligrams is a good dosage for me to relax and chill.
Good.
And have a good time, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I find. 10 milligrams is nice and low dose.
Yes.
I know other people definitely need lower, 5 or 2 or something like that. But yeah, like I said, ours is at 10 so that you do feel that pain relief. And then we have 25. There are other companies that, you can get like 1,000 milligrams.
Right.
And we're not there yet.
Well, and I mean, and there's, my pain is dull pain regarding the nerves and herniated discs and sciatica and all that.
Yeah.
But you've got people that are in severe pain. You know what I mean? They do need that
definitely.
200-300 milligrams at a time.
Yeah.
Which, they're not doing it to get high. They're using it for the pain relief.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it's really for. Yes, it's fun, but at the end of the day, it is still plant medicine. We have to, make sure and utilize it for those people that need it. And just make sure and keep it clean.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You send what labs do you use? Send your stuff out to labs and all that good stuff?
We do. We send it to, oh my gosh, Connor and George. Oh my gosh, I can't think of their name. I can see them. C3 Labs?
C4?
Yeah, C4.
C4 Labs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I took a tour of that place about a year ago.
Yeah.
So, it's super cool to understand that.
Yeah, they're awesome. And, they're amazing. And they really do tell us, like, hey, you're off on this one.
Okay.
And we'll, scrap a whole batch and be like, okay, let's fix it. So it's amazing to work with a lab company that's like, okay, here, this is what's going on.
What would you do with that batch? Like, literally just throw it out?
We'll scrap it, or we'll just make it into a higher dosage. So everything starts at a low dose, and then we test it out, and then, we just can keep adding. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and usually we make everything, like one day we'll make all the mints, the next day we'll make all the, vanilla or whatever, and every day we have to clean out the machine.
Oh, yeah.
Completely clean it out to where it's sterile again and start over.
So you're not mixing the flavors, and so you're not having residual flavors and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
How many employees do you guys have?
8.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're a big company. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, it started out with just Mike and I. The first year that we went, we were THC. I was driving out to the dispensaries and delivering products. So we've come a long way.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What's your plans and hopes for the future for the growth of the company?
For the growth of the company, I would love to see us in multiple states. Have Hippie Chicks, in the Southwest or the West Coast area. And just expand from there. Have different products. Bring our tincture, THC line, our cream into THC as well. So yeah, a few new products coming out.
So how does one get their product into these dispensaries? It's literally just knocking on the doors and saying, "Try my product and put it in, please."
Knocking on the doors, begging, bugging them, and you honestly have to set up an appointment. And first and foremost, before they even talk to you, they want to know your testing results.
Okay.
They want to know your ATO, who you're licensed with.
What's ATO?
Your operating license.
Okay.
So yeah, you can't just walk in and just be like, "Hey, I have a product." Yeah, they want to know, okay, who are you with? Where's your licensing coming from? Where are you getting your products from? Show me your testing.
Right.
I need to see the packaging. Like, it takes a lot to get into a dispensary.
Has that been pretty universal through what you're saying, though? Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's how it works. And if you are missing any of those steps, they'll be like, "No, sorry, it's okay." Yeah, so it is a process, but it needs to be, because the state can come in at any time and they can pull anything off the shelf and be like, "Well, where's the batch number to this? Where's the, distillate number for that?" So everything has to be on point.
Well, and it's the sort of thing too, if we're sitting here trying to show the fact that it is medicine, it needs to be treated like medicine.
Oh, definitely.
You can walk into a CVS pharmacy and I'm sure they have some sort of data sheet regarding all of the pharmaceuticals they have. And I do believe in the controlled, regulated market, and I do believe in it being treated as medicine, and want to know every single thing that's inside of that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And that's the thing where you have seen on any of our boxes, you can scan a QR code and it'll take you to the batch number. So that's nice. But also they need that in case there's anything ever wrong with, the product and they have to pull it. There was recently a company that had to pull their products because there was an infestation or something like that. So they had to pull it. And that's the thing, like, all of that needs to be at the forefront so that the consumers know what's going on at all times. So
and there's a lot of controversy right now going on, and there's a lot of companies that are going through some issues and all that. And I personally don't think it's a bad thing if a company has an issue, as long as it's recognized, there's transparency, and they do the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
If a company has to lose a little bit of money and scrap some product, I'm sorry, but it's better than
definitely
putting bad stuff out there and getting people sick.
And making a statement saying, "Hey, this came to light, we're getting rid of all that." Yeah, definitely. They have to. Yeah, for the patient's sake, because yes, we're all consumers at the end of the day, and we all need to know what's going into our bodies, and yeah, we don't want any of that.
Well, and it's ridiculous to want plant-based medicine that's dirtier than the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause more health issues, whether it's mold or aspergilla or whatever the case is. There's a million different things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still dealing with a plant.
Oh, definitely.
It's still, a organic material that can get infestations and all that type of stuff. Oh,
definitely. Yeah. And like you said, they need to treat it like a prescription. It should be. And most places do, where now you go into grows and things like that, and you have to wear your bunny suit. And they actually, like for our grow, they ask us, have you been to other grows? Because you can have like any bacteria on your shoes and stuff like that. So they really do try to keep everything just completely enclosed in as clean room as possible. So it's pretty amazing to see.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
If you were queen for a day, what kind of changes would you like to make in the industry in regards to any part of it? You're queen for a day and you got the magic wand.
The licensing.
Okay.
Yeah, the licensing. Make it fair for everybody in the industry, not just for the dispensary owners or the big boys that hold the license. So, and I say big boys because there's only like one or two females that hold a big license. So, the big boys.
Do you know who they are off the top of your head?
Oh, not in this state. Let's see. Marie from Green Farms, she holds a license.
Okay. Susan
and Susan Wong,
yep.
I believe. Yep. I'm trying to think who else holds a full license. I think that's pretty much it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that little.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. There's other states. Yeah, we'll get those licenses, so it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think it's extremely important. What could women who want to get into the industry, what can they do to make their presence known?
Yeah, start going to organizations. Blunt Brunch.
Okay.
Is
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
awesome
Talk about
one.
that.
Yeah, Blunt Brunch. I'm a member of Blunt Brunch now, and I actually will be the representative for New Mexico. I'm doing
Oh,
Albuquerque.
cool.
Yeah, me and Jade. But what it is, it's a group of women that actually there was 10 of us in the beginning that got together. We just wanted it to be kind of a safe space. Sorry, for women
That's
to
okay.
just have conversations. We're all. The Blunt Brunch executive lunches is where women come in from the industry, and we get to talk about all the different issues that kind of happen to us and have those blunt conversations and be able to be ourselves and, talk it out, talk it through without having not the male presence or stigma, but just so that other women understand where we're coming from. We get together every 6 weeks, and then we also do socials. And that's open up to all the women in the cannabis industry, and we go do fun events. We've done roller skating, ice skating, and just to bring all the women in the industry together so that they know that there are women here that are here to support them. We've got your back, and
That's
it's
awesome.
a fun industry. And sometimes you just don't have to feel alone, because sometimes being in the industry, you can feel alone. Even though it's a fun industry, it's still a job.
I mean, I think it's completely necessary to talk about the fact that old rich white guys dominate the space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is, and I think it's extremely important for people. I had Sonia on the other day, and
Yeah.
I learned something every single time, that I will never have the same issues as some other people,
Mm-hmm.
as some, whether like, her it's speaking about having subjects come in front of her in the court, or women breaking into the industry. There's just some things that we don't think about, and
Oh, yeah.
it's you got to listen to people's ideas, but sometimes it can be intimidating walking into a room of men
Oh, yeah.
who probably don't pay attention to you.
And right, no. Or they're like, oh, you're so cute. Like, here, smoke this. I'm like, I will smoke you under the table. Let's go. And it's funny because I have been in situations where it's, me and my husband, and I'll say, oh, yeah, I own an edibles company. And he's standing right next to me, and they'll actually start talking to him. And I'll be like, he has nothing to do with it. I'm like, if you want answers, it's me. Like, I'm the owner of the company. He actually he's not even in the industry. So it's interesting how people just always like assume it's just, a guy's role. So,
Right.
but we're breaking those barriers. We're creating a new idea of women in the industry. We're not all just stoners out there to, to get stoned. We actually can function. I'm the highest functioning stoner you'll know. And, we're out here to get stuff done and to make it fun too. So, yeah.
Well, and again, that's the whole point of my podcast, is to show the fact that it's not just a bunch of weedies sitting around smoking weed, playing video games. Yeah, that happens at 11 o'clock at night when you're at your home, but you can be an entrepreneur.
Oh,
you can
definitely.
be intelligent. You can run a business. You're responsible for 8 people's salaries. That's on you as the, that's, and you use cannabis in a safe and responsible way. That's what the whole goal is.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it's all about, just using it in a safe way, and just to getting that knowledge out there, and just know that there's always something better out there.
Yeah.
And we just really care about our patients and customers, and always bringing new products to them too.
Regarding the Blunt Brunch, is it, you had said, is it only for women in the industry, or is it for people trying to make it into the industry? Or
The socials are for women trying to and in the industry. So
Okay.
The executive ones, it's more of executive levels.
Okay.
So like C-suite and things like that. Anybody that's, CEO, COO, stuff like that. So it's been really cool. We actually just had one in Chicago, and that was amazing. We only thought maybe like 75 people would show up.
Okay.
And it turned out to be like 200. We were like, oh my gosh.
all women?
Yes,
Oh,
all women.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And CEOs of cannabis, or just in general?
CEOs of cannabis and things like
C-suite.
that. Yeah, C-suite. Women. We actually had some of the women from Curaleaf fly in from New York.
Very cool.
Bovita, I got to meet her. So it was really cool to just meet all these different executives, and to know that they did it, and so can you, so can I. We can all do this, and kind of break into this market. So that's not so male dominated anymore.
No, there's, I love a thing that says, I've seen stickers and memes and all this, is grow weed from women, or buy weed from women.
Right.
It's a female plant. I'm okay with that.
Exactly. Yeah. So Mother Earth, right? We have to go back to it.
I agree with that.
Definitely.
Who's been your inspiration in this industry?
Oh, definitely Marvina and Parisa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been so fortunate to work with them and to have them be my mentors and to just really, sometimes hold my hand through the industries of, days of, I've called them completely crying and like, I can't do this. Like, I can go back to aesthetics. And they're like, no, you're not. So I've even told Mike that. I'm like, I was good at my job. But yeah, at the same time, it's really cool to have mentors and just people that back you. And they're like, no, you got to, you have your day to cry, but you got to get back out there. And I will always remember that Marvina always says you got to hee and ha sometimes, even though you don't feel like it. And it's
fake
true.
it till you make it sometimes.
Yeah. So they're definitely my inspiration.
Parisa and Rod, when I was doing the Women Grow, volunteering for Women Grow, that's actually what kind of led me to start this. She was actually part of my inspiration for this. Is that when they found out my background and all that good stuff, and I told them what I used to be, they had asked me. I don't know if you recall. They said, "Can you put together like a real quick, little thing about law enforcement and all that good stuff?" And I remember the first time I did it was at a Women Grow event.
Yeah.
And I sat and there was probably 200 or 300 people there, and I started talking to them about it, and then I was like, all of these people are actually staring at me and they're listening to me. Was it the Tucson one at I did 2 of them. One of them,
Jewish Community Center.
Yes.
Yep.
And there was, a couple hundred people in there. They're all watching me and staring at me, and they're actually paying attention. And I was like, I think I have something to say. And she was Parisa was absolutely an inspiration for helping me get whatever it is I'm doing out there. So
that's awesome.
Huge props to her.
Yay. Yeah. I will let her know. And it's amazing how many people that she's actually, inspired and motivated to, continue in the cannabis industry.
Marvina is absolutely one of the most amazing and motivating human beings I've ever listened to in my life.
Definitely.
The first time, and again, it was at a Women Grow event. I don't remember. I think it was at the first one. It was at that really neat place down in Tucson that was kind of like an artsy, whatever. The first time I ever heard her speak. Yeah. And I was blown away by her story, by her passion, by her drive, and I absolutely want to get them to come on and sit down. I think that'd be a blast. Oh yeah, it's when you hear Marvina, it's like going to church every time. So even like on the phone with her, I'm like, okay, I've got to go do something amazing today. I don't know what it is, but so she's just so inspirational and just honestly somebody to look up to. She started at the bottom. She is using her product, the CBD and THC, to also fund the houses that she has. So it's really cool, and she helps people get off of drugs and prescriptions and all that stuff. So she's doing amazing things. So that's incredible. Yeah, that's very awesome. Cool. So is there any sort of mentorship that happens in the community for women by women? Brunch is doing that. Okay. So they're doing a mentorship where you can get a hold of them and they will kind of pair you with somebody. And honestly, just going to these events too, you'll meet a lot of people that, yes, you have to start going to these events and letting them know who you are. And then, you really do. You'll find amazing people that will help you out and kind of give you guidance. Even now, I've met people that I was like, oh my gosh, where I'm starstruck, and they're in the industry and they're like, yeah, well, let me tell you about this, or, bigger brands that I'm like, wow, thanks for the advice. I really am surprised that you would talk to me or even give me advice. So, the guys from Timeless, Rocky and Josh, they're just amazing. And, Timeless is everywhere. Right. So, and just the fact that they've sat down with me and been like, hey, this is what you should do as a small company, do this, this, and this, and it'll help you to get, A, B, and C. And just for them to take time out and just give advice, it's pretty amazing. So. Yeah, they are. Once you get to know everybody in the industry, we are pretty nice. Right. And we are pretty chill. So I have been at a couple of events where everybody seems like really, really high strung. And it's like, hey, there's probably somebody with a joint around here that we can all smoke and calm down. Yeah. Like everybody just come down a little bit. Yeah, just a little. Yeah. But it is, it is at the end of the day, it's still a job. But we have fun. That's very, very cool. Yeah. So what's the future plans? I know you talked about other states, other licenses. What about the immediate future? The immediate future? Well, from here, I'm going to go to lunch. But no, the immediate future, honestly, we are trying to get into a couple more dispensaries here in Arizona. We will be launching
new flavors with. I feel with supply chain, like everybody's still talking about it, but like for us, like our new packaging and stuff like that. So we do feature new women on the boxes. It's just taken us a minute to get our products to come in from China. It's just so we do have recurring people that are on the box, but we also feature for limited edition ones. We have different flavors and stuff like that. Yeah. So like we had 4th of July. We had the oh my gosh, the dark chocolate one with peanut butter, and that was amazing. So now that's going to be featured.
Ooh, yeah, you had me at peanut butter.
Yeah, so it's really good. So yeah, so we're always featuring new flavors.
That's very cool. Mm-hmm. That's very, very cool.
But yeah, so it's awesome to work with the company and just to be in this space because at the end of the day, it's a great job, and you get to play with weed. And you get to play with weed and eat chocolate. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad gig. That's awesome. Yeah. So. I want to be respectful of your time, and again, I cannot thank you enough for coming down here. It's been almost an hour, believe it or not. That's awesome. So, leave us with some words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Don't hate, medicate. There you go. Is one of our hippie sayings. Words of wisdom. Honestly, if you're trying to get into this industry, just make those good connections. Go to all the events. Support us in all the ways that you can. And we're going to keep trying to make cannabis legal throughout the United States. One last question. I totally forgot. What's the origin of your name, Hippie Chicks? Hippie Chicks? So Mike, we were thinking of a name and things like that. We knew that we wanted it to be inspired by women, so we kind of had the concept, but we just didn't know what we wanted to. Mike was telling me the story that he, when he was in college, he was dating this girl, and her name was Butterfly. And she had like 7 sisters, and one was like Butterfly, one was like Rainbow, one was, and he's like, and all these hippie chicks with their names. And I was like, that's it. That's what it needs to be. So, and actually, so we still talk to her. Actually, her name is Aries. Okay. And so we still talk to her, and she just thinks it's the coolest thing. And she's like, yeah, all my sisters are on there. I'm like, she's like, now I've got like a whole bunch of sisters. So yeah, that's the origin of Hippie Chicks. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you coming down here. Thank you. And I love your product. Thank you. So huge glad. Props. So everybody, again, Hippie Chicks. Yep. And how can they get a hold of you? How can they find you? How can they follow you? Yeah, we're on Instagram, azhippiechicks or HippieChicks edibles or HippieChicks_edibles. You can order our CBD products on HippieChicksCBD.com. Okay. Our swag stuff like the bong water and t-shirts, you can get it on swagbust.com. And then swagbust.com. Swagbust, like the VW bus, like beep, bus, swag bus. Okay, I've never heard of that website. So it just came up. So that's where we're putting all of our swaggy items like our t-shirts. And, is that your guys' website? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. Swag Bus, yeah. So we'll have like the bong water, backpacks, t-shirts. Cool. And, because we're getting a lot of. When are you going to get a VW bus to tour around in and do all this stuff? I really want to. I know there's electric ones coming out. Of course, they're like $1 bajillion, but I want one. Yes. It's a write-off. It's a business write-off. It is. Mm-hmm. It is. We're trying. We're definitely trying. So that's next. Very cool. Yeah. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate it. Thanks. Let me get all this stuff turned off.